Take a look in my game face. Ain't no stopping me. You know I'm coming in first place. Well, stop it till I get that ring. I'ma dominate all day. No matter who you bring, I will not lose.
Yeah.
I will not lose.
I will not lose.
Yo, what up? It's your boy, When JJ Stone, aka Black Gritty. Welcome to another episode of Gritty Nights. I thank you for being here. I thank you for watching. And if you're listening on audio, which you all are, make sure you go over to YouTube and click subscribe on YouTube for your boy. People out here looking at me on the internet acting like y'all don't care about the show, but I know you do. You're in here live. You're out there in the audio. Get in my YouTube. It's free. Click subscribe for your boy. Get in here, hang out. In case you didn't know, it's Wildcard weekend. And the Philadelphia Eagles are primed and ready to go. And so is the rest of the league. Not that we care that much about the rest of the league, but we definitely got to start with the Birds first. And I've been a little bit of battling on the internet with other Eagles fans. You know, there was a big dividing topic going on last week. Sit Saquon, don't sit Saquon. Everybody's got to sit. Nobody's sitting. Everybody playing. Nobody playing. And I was talking back and forth with my boy Tom Stakes on Twitter, and it was just a good conversation because sometimes on Twitter you could just be talking to somebody who's a fan of the same thing you are, and it goes left where you're like, look, you got big eyes and your mom got a dog, and you're like, you get off the topic of everything you're supposed to be on. But Tom's a real one. He's a real fan, so we stayed on topic. You know, we was on opposite sides of the fence like two dogs just barking, and then as soon as you open the gate, like, oh yeah, you're Eagles fan, I'm an Eagles fan too, and everything was cool. So everything was good, and everybody got through safe and healthy. Beat the Giants, no problem. So, you know, I'm happy. Tom was happy. Most of the Eagles fans are happy. What's up, Tom?
What's going on, dude? It is a big honor to be on with you, talking ball, chopping it up, doing, you know, what Eagles fans do, and that's exactly what you were describing there. That's what Eagles fans do. They express themselves, and that's part of this fan base. That's part of fan culture, I think, and we have the strongest one. So that's all that was. And yeah, I love talking ball, so I'll do it any day.
And my thing is, like, when some people say, oh, you know, even Philly fans try to say, oh, Philly fans are so aggressive, everybody gets so, I was like, it's because we care.
Right.
I've been in other cities. I've been to LA. I've tried to talk to people. I used to go to Oakland all the time, and I was like, yo, let's just go watch a Warriors game. We can go sit in the middle section for like $15. And I would go to games by myself out there visiting people that live there because nobody cared about the Warriors. You know what I mean? They were about a 500 team, sub 500 team. And now it's like, oh, I've been a fan my whole life. Shut up, man. You wouldn't even go see them for no reason. Like we in Philly, we sat through the process. People still going to watch Sixers games. I know I had season tickets for like the first year of the process. I was still out there spending my money.
Salute to you then.
Yeah. I just regave up my season ticket. So, you know, there's cycles to it, but I would still go to a game if a friend from out of town was like, yo, let's go watch the team play.
For sure.
But other markets just don't care like we do. You know what I mean? So when they get on and they want to talk stuff on the internet, I'm more than happy to talk trash and stick up for my team, either with my own fans or against other fans, because I know that we're a market that cares all the time. Not fair weather, we care. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, I appreciate you, you know, holding it down with the opposite point of view. You know what I mean? Sometimes just kind of keep it real.
I think that matters too. I think that the fact that we care and we're vocal about it matters, because social media, what we're doing right now, digital media, it's the voice that you can have on these platforms that the team feels that, you know, that's their consumer audience. So it's like, I know all about that from, you know, what we were talking about earlier, you know, off cam, about digital marketing, things like that I have experience in. And I'm telling you, these teams, they will feel the heat because they're doing social listening. They're seeing what the consumers are saying. And when we're showing our passion, man, you know, the ownership, they want to step on the gas for us. They want to make sure we're getting to where we want to be, because this fan base will let you know when you're not. And that's just simple. And before social media, it was everything else. It was the radio, the news, how the media covered you. And we've always had that voice, and we've always tried to be at the forefront. So it's amazing. And here we are, 14-win team, 2 seed in the NFC. What more could you ask for?
Right now, not much, because you know, like I said, we're healthy. We just released our third backup quarterback. So people been getting on me because I said Jalen Hurts went through the walkthrough, so he should clear concussion protocol when he gets his first practice. They're not practicing. He hasn't cleared yet. I'm saying he should be cleared because he got to do the walkthrough, and once the practice happens. And again, we talked. I've seen you say it, like you haven't been worried about the Jalen Hurts thing. I feel like it's a real concern that people can have because until he's off protocol, the Eagles don't actually control that. So whether they're slow walking it or whatever they're doing, they're not the ones completely in control of that at the end of the day. So I understand people's concern and worry about it, but them releasing the quarterback today and opening up that roster spot is giving all the signals that Jalen should be able to step into practice tomorrow, their first full practice this week. And, if everything goes well and he doesn't have any symptoms, he'll be cleared and we'll be ready to go. So, are you worried about rust and the fact that he hasn't played or done anything physical for the last 24 days?
You know what? I'll say this. I absolutely agree. It is definitely a valid concern in terms of, a head injury, because not only with a long layoff and potential, getting out of rhythm and missing all that time, but, one more head injury and you have to go on IR. I believe it's a league mandate to go on IR. Austin Eckler and Tua Tagovailoa both experienced it earlier this season, and we would miss him for the whole playoffs. So I think it's very much a concern, something to take serious in terms of the rust and the potential layoff, the rust from the layoff. I would say that the reason I'm not worried about it so much are these two things. Number one, he's worked with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown for the last several years of his career. I think they have a natural chemistry that's beyond playing in, 20 some days. I think that that's muscle memory. I think they're just on the same page. And then number two, I think because we can also lean on our run game, and that's what we do so well. And that's why media and talking heads and fans, even some of our own fans, even all year have said Jalen Hurts doesn't really need to do anything. He's not really the propeller of this offense, right? It's Saquon, it's the run game, it's the O-line. And then when Jalen does have to do something, he has these incredible weapons. So, at the end of the day, I know Jalen Hurts is a very important piece. I know those narratives are not all completely true. But if we need him to warm up to speed a little bit, I think we can lean on some things and make that happen. And when he gets back up to full speed and he's playing at a high level, our offense is unstoppable. So
I similarly think the opposite, and I've said it all year. And the only time you get to see it is when Jalen was out with Saquon. Saquon Barkley gets to be Saquon Barkley because of Jalen Hurts. The offensive line gets to be the offensive line because of Jalen Hurts. It's a give and a take on the system of the running, because once Jalen's not there to do the RPO and potentially pull it, it doesn't freeze the guys in the back and they get to load the box on Saquon. And that's what you saw the game plan instantly change with the Commanders when they could just say, okay, look, we're not going to let Saquon beat me. Pickett, you've got to go past the ball. And he did fairly well. He had a turnover, interception, but the running game just came to a stall with the starting offensive line, with Saquon back there, because Jalen gives that caveat of, oh man, I don't know what we're going to do. And so that's
but he will be on the field, right? Like we're saying he'll be on the field, maybe a little rust in terms of getting back into the swing of things, but he'll be on the field.
So I'm not even talking about that part. I was getting to the point of like the running game. So I'm not even worried about the rust, because what you said, everything about rust is true. Jalen Hurts has had an ankle injury, comes back on, he gets right back in the rhythm and things like that.
Right.
My issue is the being out that long when it's concussion, because he's not allowed to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
The running part for him, he could break off a 20-something yard run. He's not Richardson. He's winded, he's gassed, but he goes out there and he handles every play. Another thing you don't notice with quarterback versus the running back sometimes, Saquon goes 3 runs in a row, pulls himself out. Jalen goes 3 runs in a row. He's still got to stay out there and keep passing this rock. So that's my only concern. Not so much rust, just having your wind be up.
Oh, the stamina.
Because it's going to be so cold. So I take that in consideration too. When it's 20 degrees out, you're just trying to breathe in general, and your wind's down. So that's my only worry. I'm not worried, like you said, I'm not worried about their timing, their chemistry.
Sure.
They'll have like 3 games of practice and they'll get their reps, they'll get their plays in. It's just if Jalen breaks off a 23-yard run and he's like, whoo, I ain't I ain't ran 23 yards in a minute.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue or worry, if there was some kind of worry. But again, that's like you said, that's something that you work yourself back into game shape and go from there.
Yeah.
So let's move over to the Packers real quick, because I just got this comment. So it seems like Jordan Love's going to play. He was available to come back into the game against the Bears, so he's not going to be out. And they just didn't bring him back in because both of their quarterbacks got smashed up. And they were like, look, they're against opposite situation we were in. They needed that win. They were trying to get that win, and they got banged up. They lost Watson. He's out for the year. They lost one of their cornerbacks. Both of their quarterbacks got banged up. And Jordan Love was available to come back in, but again, they held him out. So Jordan Love should be quote unquote fine. I don't know how fully healthy he's going to be, but their backup is smashed up too. And when you talk to Packers fans, the Packers give up the second least sacks. And I was like, yeah, but their quarterback still gets hit a lot because he throws off his back foot. He's not getting sacked because he gets rid of the ball, but he's still taking a lot of hits. So the two things matter because your guys are getting knocked out of the game. So tell me they're not taking sacks, but you almost lost both quarterbacks. That stands for something. And our guys are rushing very well up the middle because of Carter. He's taking on all the double teams in the world you could want. And the edge guys, Sweat's been coming up. So are you worried about Jordan Love?
Worried about him in the sense of, he's a good player, but just like what you were talking about, just right there, the injuries, the hits on the quarterback. I mean, we played these guys. I saw us play against these guys, and I remember I made a video very vividly. I might retweet that like tomorrow or something because it still applies today. I loved the way our defensive line played that game because we were so active. We didn't have many sacks, but we moved Jordan Love so much that by the end of the game, he had a calf injury and he had to come out. So I think the activity of our front seven, and we're better now, I think, than we were then. We were figuring it out.
Was terrible too, by the way.
Yeah, the field was bad, and we had Avonte Maddox in the slot instead of Cooper DeJean. Like, a lot of things have changed with our defense. We kind of have found our identity since then, but you saw little glimpses of it in that game. And the way we moved Jordan Love off his spot, forced him on off-platform throws, he was making some. Like, Jaden Reed got open downfield a few times on us. At the end of the day, if we play with that kind of in the cold, like you were saying, we play with that kind of aggression and chase Jordan Love around all night and hit him and push him around, the stats on the sheet won't matter. Like, Jalen Carter can wreck this game. Nolan Smith can get in there using his athleticism and really disrupt that backfield and make Jordan Love uncomfortable. He already has the elbow thing going on. He had, like I said, calf injury earlier, and then he had that. What did he have? A knee. He had a knee. Jalen Carter at the end of the game kind of like tackled him and took him down. So he's been banged up. Like, we've seen it, and we've seen, getting him off his spot, knocking him around a little, rattles him up. So I think that's going to be the game plan. I mean, I think it's the game plan against any team, get pressure on the quarterback, but I think especially against these guys.
Well, and even besides that game plan, the Packers have almost got swept by the division. They beat the Bears one time. They're in a very hard division, but they're 1-5 in their division, and they're 1-5 against two of the other top 5 defenses.
Right.
So it's not like they won 11 games, but they beat up on a lot of teams that had terrible defenses.
Right.
When they went up against a team with a good defense, they lost against us. They lost against the Lions twice. They lost against the Vikings twice. And the Lions are very similar to us, not in style, but in mentality, both very physical. We did not have Zach Bond in that first game, so he's a difference maker now in the run game and the stopping of Jacobs. So the thing that they also rely on is their run game, and our run stopping ability has escalated an exponential amount compared to when they saw us the last time. So not only like the Cooper DeJean thing, the linebacker situation, the front situation, like there's so many different things that the Packers just can't handle when they deal with other physical defenses.
Right.
So it's not like I'm just saying, oh, the Eagles were the best defense. So statistically, we're top 2, 3, 1 in a lot of categories, but the Packers have lost to the other 2 and 3 top 5 defenses also.
Right.
So there's a style of play that the Packers just can't handle. So
had an
when I'm
answer
sitting
for
here,
that.
say again.
I said, yeah, there's a style of play that they just haven't had an answer for. They just haven't been able to answer that physical. I think that's the difference. I think it's physicality. I think they're a little bit soft and finesse, and I just don't. They haven't been able to answer those physical teams. The Vikings, the Lions, they're right in their same division, and we're built better than those teams. So
And normally when they're healthy, they've got like, they have 4 wide receivers that, might be a starter on a lot of teams in the league. But, you lose 1 or 2 of those guys, you lose a cornerback.
right.
The
Jair's a big loss for like I know people on Twitter like hate on him, and I don't know what your opinion of him honestly is either, but he's like an attitude guy for them. Like he's a leader on that defense, and he gives them a certain swagger and edge. And when he's not out there, it's a little bit different. He's the guy that can make a play, and I think you definitely rather play him without him than with him. So I don't think he makes the difference in winning and losing this game, but without him, and then Christian Watson as well, it's brutal.
Yeah. So he's like a young Lattimore. He's somebody who goes out there, makes a hit, plays physical, doesn't back down, and he can galvanize the other guys in the back end. So him not being there as a vocal leader is going to hurt them as well as just his play on the field, because it doesn't give that feel. It's the same thing like when you lose a guy like CJGJ. Now he's given up a lot of our touchdowns this year. To be fair to him, he gets worked because people was afraid of Quinyon. So he gets worked in the middle and on slants and stuff like that. But he also goes out there and he has big hits. He's been getting the turnovers lately. He's in guys' ears when they're out there running their routes and just intimidating them, letting them know, hey, I'm out here floating, bro. You know what I mean? Check over your shoulder when you catch this ball. So there is something to that. There is an attitude that's necessary to have, especially on defense. And he was their enforcer for the Packers. The Packers have lost a couple of key things that are going to hurt them. And like I said, the biggest thing is that they don't play well against physical teams. Are you so just so you know, I mean, we're on the internet, so you can't slap me, but I'm not a Nick Sirianni guy at all. I've bent the knee to Nick since the child shield screaming at fans, and he apologized, and he's been better since then. He's taken the points. He stops going for 4th down every time. He's using situational football. We went on a 9-game win streak, and he's just shut the up for the most part. I just edited myself because I'm trying to cuss. I haven't cussed so far this episode, so I'm trying to keep it that way. And he's shut up, and he's just done a solid job as a head coach, minus a little Zach Ertz, a little blip up. But I generally don't like him. But when he's coaching like this, he's fine for me. How do you feel about Nick Sirianni in general? Like, are you a Nick guy? Like, is it
the only like I like a guy that is himself and is, if that comes with a little bit of those moments where you're like, man, I wish, he would have handled that. But what I didn't like when he started doing was the things you were saying about going for it on 4th down, not taking the points, not being, I don't like that, the big balls thing. Like I'm not a go for it every time just to prove you're the hero. I don't like that hero stuff. And when he was doing that early in the season, I was really upset with that. And at the bye week, I think a lot of things changed about this whole team. And one of them was Sirianni just kind of like locking in. And I wish Jake Elliott was kicking a little better, because now I'm kind of mad that I thought it was because of him being a hero, but maybe it was because he didn't have faith in Elliott. But nonetheless, no, I think Nick's been a lot better. Like you said, I think you put it really well. But it doesn't really bother me, the stuff that he does. Maybe it's a little immature at times, but I think just like being himself is the best thing for the team and for him.
So this question popped up: should Nick shave his head before the playoff run?
Cozy's peppering us with questions right now.
He is. He's the only one in the chat. Everybody watching. There's 200 of y'all in here, and he's the only one chatting. I mean, I'll throw y'all up there. You got something to say? Don't be scared.
Bring something to like. I love Twitter Spaces because I give out mics and people talk on it, and it's great, and that's what makes this kind of stuff. So bring the comments in if you're out there. Nick shave his head before the playoffs. It's cold in Philly, man. Cozy's from Florida. He's down there in Florida. I've met him several times. It's my guy. Shout out Cozy Bryant. But nah, like Nick got to keep the long hair, man. It's going to be cold in Philly.
Well, he's gonna have a hat on anyway, so that's all I know. I don't even care if he shaves his head. He can shave it or not shave it. I mean, his wife don't want him to shave it, so. But he's gonna have a hat on, so I wouldn't even know if it's unless he freaks out and like throws his top back. But so it's funny you said what you said about the kick because we were going to get there. We might as well get there now. Earlier in the season, I felt like you weren't giving him the opportunity to make kicks, even short kicks, to even take them. And I feel like that might have messed up his confidence.
Yeah,
Because kickers are real sensitive. They're like the third child, and if you don't give them enough love, they think you don't love them because you're out there with the middle child. It's like, well, bro, he knows how to catch a ball. You can't even throw yet. Like, yeah, I mean, just relax. 2 more years, I'll play with you. So that's how I thought about the early season. I'm like, bro, just take the points. And then when he goes out there and he misses the kick, I'm like, well, he's been sitting cold for 3.5 quarters. You haven't even let him kick an extra point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you bring him out here to come kick a 55-yarder and he misses it.
Yeah.
So, who knows? But kickers in general across the league this year have been down.
Yeah.
Tucker for the Ravens, one of the most solid kickers on the planet Earth, has been missing kicks. So I don't even know what's going on with kickers right now. The way the moon elapsed with the sun on the right side of the Earth times 2, something's going on. So
there's a conspiracy behind this.
And I call Jake Mr. Tripod himself. He got a third leg, and I always love the kid since he hit that big kick for us against the Giants. He's done such a solid job, but he is the weak link right now. Him and special teams. Sometimes there's just a lapse on special teams in general right now with tackling, and we've got a lot of young guys that love to hit. But I think we have guys like
Keely Ringo on special teams. That's the guy that stands out to me. But I think
Ringo, Brown. I like all those young guys.
Brown's awesome too. But the kickoffs, Braden Mann doing it versus Jake Elliott. I feel like Mann isn't getting it in the end zone every time, and like maybe give that back to Elliott and let his leg get a little warm on those, and then maybe he'll hit more. I don't know. I have no idea what the idea behind that is.
So they stopped doing it again last week, but they did it the week before, and they let Jake kick off, and he didn't let one ball get run back. He kept kicking it back in the end zone, and he made all of his field goals that game. So same thing you just said. I'm like, well, why isn't he kicking off? And like you said, he's getting warm. He's at least getting to kick off. Yep. So go back to doing that. That's exactly what we need to do.
Yep.
But I believe in him. I trust in him. Hopefully we're putting up enough points where it's not that big of an issue. And we do still have the tush push and the best short yardage play in the league if he does go bad. I mean, like if he goes bad like once, you might have to say, hey, look, we're just gonna keep going for it now. We can't risk this field goal and giving up this field position. Right. So is there anything else with the Eagles we gotta worry about and talk about? What's going on in the world?
I mean, dang. What else? I could do it forever. What else would matchups? We could I could do it forever. But if you want to move to a new topic, man, I'm down. Like I haven't talked any other sports in a while. Football season's like crazy for me. I'm just content football, going to games, doing this, going to tailgates. So I'm down to move off the Eagles and get on something else.
Well, we can come back. We can circle back to the Eagles. You are a tailgater. You are like I call E-Rock the mayor.
Yeah. I'm like on the Congress.
There you go. Yeah, all the time I was like, hey, he's the mayor. He's got to go out there and shake all the hands, kiss all the babies and everything like that. So this weekend you got on Saturday the Chargers and the Texans. Who you got in that game?
I'm gonna go. Oh my gosh, it's really hard. It's really hard because you know why? My heart says the Chargers because I really am a Jim Harbaugh fan. I've become a Jim Harbaugh fan.
I'm a Harbaugh family fan. I love their dad. I love the mom. I love the boys. Yep.
So I think they can. I think they can pull it off. I don't see the Texans as like having that kind of year and that swagger that they had last year. So I'm like thinking like, man, the Chargers kind of have that. The Chargers have like a new identity. They're tough. They just signed Zeke. So we'll see how that goes. But I would like to see the Chargers win, but the Texans at home is tempting. And oh man, yeah. Like that's exactly what I think. Yeah. Texans look bad and the Chargers look good. I'm going to say the Chargers on the road.
Let me help you out. Herbert's going to get his first playoff win. Harbaugh wins. It's a no-brainer. It's a 100% lock. I guarantee Tom's life on it. That's how secure I feel in the Chargers beating the Texans.
Okay.
CJ Stroud's in a slump year this summer. So there's certain things about me, Tom, you'll find out. I'm from the future. Like when I see things, I'm a people person. So when I see things about people, it indicates certain things to me. This summer, he was hanging out with Amber Rose. I looked at my buddy and I was like, yo, he's going to be trash next year. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, he said they're just friends. I'm like, he's walking her out of a party at 2:00 in the morning and they're getting into a Lambo truck. His whole life has changed. Last year, he was, praise God, praise the Lord, my dad's in jail. I'm trying to do jail refinement and get people out of prison. And now you're hanging out with Amber Rose in LA at 1:00 in the morning. Nah, bro, your whole life has changed. This woman is a succubus and she sucked all the juice, power, and energy out of him. He is in a sophomore slump. And if he wasn't in one of the worst divisions in football, he wouldn't be in the position he's in. Jim Harbaugh has turned that whole team around. They're stingy. They play well. They're the least penalized team in the league because he's out there cracking that whip. So I guarantee you that feeling you had is 100% accurate. Take out the emotional feel of last year's Texans because they ain't this year's Texans. He might bounce back next year. You need to get back to the Lord. He needs to get back to worried about his dad being in jail and then being humble. Because right now, this woman got his life messed up, got his knees shaky. You know what I'm saying? Tom got his knees shaky.
Yeah, and for that one picture, video, or whatever it was of him with Amber Rose, there's hundreds of video or of not videos and no pictures of him probably with other females and fans.
Just already living his fame. He became famous and
now
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're all on the Chargers there. Harbaugh trade.
And you know what? The Texans also have some injuries too. This isn't like a healthy Texans team. This is a team that lost Diggs and Dell, and it's just not looking good.
After I just made that whole salacious argument, you can't come in with facts, Tom. Nobody cares about the facts, brother. We just out here just talking about
that was all facts too on you, though.
The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Who you got in that one?
I got Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens rolling in that game. I mean, I don't think Pittsburgh's even a threat. I think they got exposed a little at the end of the year and were never really that great. So definitely Ravens.
The Steelers have backed their way into 4 straight losses, and the last 2 years, the Steelers have owned Lamar Jackson. But the last game they just played, Lamar broke through, got the win. Derrick Henry went off. He had 160-something yards rushing. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are just in a bad situation where if they can't throw the ball over the moon to Pickens, which the last couple of games he's had a bunch of drops. He can't talk the way he talks.
Exactly.
And drops. And I know he was injured, so he's coming off an injury too. So I'm trying to be like somewhat respectful to him, but he has way too much savoir-faire to be out here dropping the ball like that. But I do believe this is another one where mediocre Mike, and I love Mike Tomlin. I love him as a head coach, love him as a human being, is going to have one of those situations where they find their way in the playoffs, but they're going to find their way getting bounced out in the first round. And they're still going to be looking for a quarterback next year. So I got the Baltimore Ravens in that game too. I have them winning heftily too. It's not going to be close like it usually is because I think the Ravens have turned the corner on that situation. Moving to Sunday, we got the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Who you got, Tom?
I got the Buffalo Bills. Come on, another guy. I mean, the 2 last games we just talked about, the 2 MVP guys at quarterback, and it's a dub. It's a dub for the Bills. I mean, home. Denver had an admirable season, though. I'll say that. I like Denver. I like what they're doing over there, but got to go with the big favorite.
I hate Sean Payton. I have lost all respect for him coming from Bounty Gate to the way that he handled Russell Wilson, the way that he talked about him, the way that he talked when he was out of the league, like such arrogance. Like, bro, you won 1 Super Bowl, 1, and you had Drew Brees who was putting up 5,000 yards a season. You won 1 Super Bowl. So I just don't like him, but I will respect the fact that he won his 8-9 games last year with Russell, said that's not who I need, got rid of him, got the rookie in here, and Bo Nix has gone from winning a game with a 60-yard passing game Nobody talked about him like they talk about Jalen Hurts with his 200-yard passing games. This guy went with a 60-yard passing game, and Bo Nix is shut up. So Bo Nix could go out there and beat the third-string Chiefs. Everybody was yelling about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was out there with the third stringers.
Yeah.
They rested 31 players that didn't play. There's only 50-something guys on the team. So, yeah, Carson Wentz went out there and looked like dog crap because he was out there with the replacements. So just relax. But anyway, I digress.
But Bo Nix has been nice this year. Let's give him his props.
That's what I said. I was like, Bo Nix has been good. He's good for that system for
Right.
Sean Payton. Yeah, he has gotten better. I'm just saying there's been a few games where
Yeah, he's a
he's
rookie.
had a 60-yard passing game, and we're like, oh, Bo Nix. I'm like, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He's done the job. The whole team has done their job.
Mhm.
And they won 8 games last year because the defense is good. They've got Surtain. There's other things out there. I'm not saying that Bo Nix is trash by any means. I'm just saying, give him some time to grow.
Yeah.
And we'll see where they're going. But they're going to get worked by the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And they're very much rested too, so they're going to get worked by them. Eagles, Ravens. I'm just throwing up these things from people talking about, so they're talking to you. We're going to come back to the Eagles game. The Commanders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
Now we're serious talking. Now you got to make a decision, Tom. You got to come up for real. This one that matters. It's the money.
I think this is the one that I've had the most trouble. It is the one I'm going to have the most trouble with. The next two, I'm going to have the most trouble deciding for the whole weekend. These are the two toughest games to decide. And I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I was in that stadium when the Eagles beat them last year on Monday Night Football early in the season, not the playoff game.
Okay.
I went out there, I visited my dad, and we went to that game, and then we lost to them in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what about that stadium. I was impressed. I think they good fans, good energy.
Hands going off every touchdown. Them things is loud, boy.
Yeah, I think they play. And you know what? You know what else? I respect Baker Mayfield too. I like Baker Mayfield. Always been a big Baker Mayfield fan. Not coming out of college, to be honest, but he proved me wrong, and I've been a fan ever since. He won me over, and he's a gamer. He's not a guy that's going to hit you with the rah-rah and the flashiness and the Amber Rose at 2 a.m. superstar vibes. But he's a little gritty dude that will come and compete every single snap. And I respect him, and I think he's going to get it done at home in the playoffs, in the first round at least.
So Tampa Bay over the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look back at that. Dang. So okay, so there's an upset in there. The only upset we've picked so far is the Chargers over the Texans. Everything else we're choosing the favorites. So as far as the Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to whip the dog shit out of the Commanders, and they're going to put a fire out on the Jaden Daniels tour system. Okay. I'll tell you two things that you didn't mention of the reason why. The first reason why is the guy named Todd Bowles. Mm-hmm. Todd Bowles knows how to handle mobile quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I use him as one of my examples when I talk about Nick Sirianni being a cheerleader and a rah-rah vibe guy, and Todd Bowles. Who's Todd Bowles' defensive coordinator? You don't know because you just say Todd Bowles defense. He's that coach, but you still just say Todd Bowles defense because you know that they're running what he wants them to run and how they want to run it. And he knows how to handle a mobile guy. So Baker's going to go out there and do what he needs to do. By the way, Evans hates Lattimore, and Lattimore is now on the Commanders, and Evans always works the dog shit out of Lattimore. So that's going to be a fun little compartment to watch because, big man, little man syndrome. He's going to be out there stiff arming the crap out of him, and Baker's going to get him the ball, and they're at home. Them Ken's going to be popping off, and the Commanders are a rookie team with a coach that has been melted down in postseasons before. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all day long, and in such a fashion that they embarrass the Commanders and put them back on the watch that they need to be on about who they are. So all the funky fans in the comment section, all on Twitter, everywhere, left hand up, the Commanders. We are Commanders. Bump, 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 bitch asses. Y'all gonna go right back into the cellar where you belong. I appreciate you, and I need you to come through for me, Todd Bowles. I need you to come through for me.
And then you know what? If that game ends the way we think that we both just picked, Tampa Bay winning, they come to Philly, and then we're going to need to root against Todd Bowles.
Oh, then Todd Bowles, I got the caveat of Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is a problem when A.J. Brown's not playing.
Yep. There we go. There we go.
AJ Brown's playing. I ain't worried about Todd Bowles because he ain't got no answers for AJ Brown. He got answers for when Jalen's just out there running and handing the ball off. But hey, guess what? He wasn't handing the ball to Saquon Barkley. And the last time we lost to them, we did not have AJ Brown. And the other time we lost to them, we did not have AJ Brown. So
and we didn't have Saquon Barkley either. Like last year when we played, like, this is a new team. I'm ready for the Buck. I want the matchup. I love that. I love that matchup.
Yep, and they got to come up here, so it's all good in the hood, broski.
Mm-hmm.
Now the last one where you don't even know what you want to do with your whole life right now. The Minnesota Vikings, Los Angeles Rams, Monday Night Football. Bah, 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 bah. Come on, Tom. It's all on you. If you get this wrong, America's going to be mad at you.
I'm going to take the road team again. The Minnesota Vikings go to LA and they win. And then they go to LA, and then they go to Detroit, and that's the rematch that they want. The Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions will meet in the divisional round. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to take this game. Let's hear if we went all 6 games, same or not.
We did not. This is what I like. So I said this is going to be the battleground for you and me, Tom. Yeah, I mean, I'll be on Twitter, talk about you don't know what you talk about, or you can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. We got one thing that can divide us, and it is this. And I might even bring you back to my side. So when you play the Detroit Lions, no matter what happens when you play the Detroit Lions, the next week your team loses. The last time Minnesota played the Rams, they lost to the Rams. Do you know who they played the week before?
The Lions.
The Lions. Because the thing we talked about earlier is the Lions are a defensive bully team. They just blitzed the living daylights out of the Minnesota Vikings. And Sam Darnold was seeing flashes of himself, scared to death, and put in the caveat of the Minnesota Vikings the week before they played the Lions were popping champagne in their locker room because they had won a franchise most games, and they still had a game left to play. Y'all's out here popping champagne, celebrating. The Lions out here eating raw meat and walking dogs in the dark, and you out here popping champagne. The season ain't even over yet. Then you come out here to the Lions, and they put their foot on your neck. The Vikings are out there. Their ownership is buying $2 million worth of tickets, trying to get Vikings fans out there to quell the noise. Oh, they are going to limp into LA, and LA is going to be like, oh, Sam Darnold can't handle the blitz? Let's go. And they're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings. That's what I see happening again for Minnesota. It's going to upset the world. It's going to make everybody upset. Sam Darnold's still going to get a little paycheck and ain't going to know what to do at quarterback. But I just got that feeling that the same thing that happened earlier this year is you go out there, you lose to the Lions. It's a heartbreaking thing. They wore you down, and then you got to go play the Rams where now they're fully healthy. That's what I say.
You know what? I'm going to stick with the Vikings in this game, but I can see the Rams being really motivated to get this win to try to get themselves back to Detroit. If we talk about last year in the playoffs, the Lions beat the Rams in the playoffs, and that whole Stafford Goff trade has been at the forefront of discussions of both teams and whenever they match up. So I could see the Rams being super motivated to get to Detroit, and I would absolutely love that matchup to get to see that rematch from last year's playoffs. McVay, I know he's a prideful guy. He sat his starters, I think, because he just wanted to be healthy, be straight, and get into here, and I think that's going to be their goal, knocking Detroit out and claiming the NFC back. But got to start with the Vikings first. Got to get through them. And I got the Brian Flores defense making it tough. And I think it's going to be a really tough game. But I just think the Vikings pull it out in the end, some way, somehow, and they get to Detroit.
Yeah. So like I said, I just gave you all the firepower I got for why it won't happen. I can totally see it going your way too. It's just
we'll see. We'll keep it going on Twitter. We'll be tweeting about it that day, I bet.
So does Daniels play good, or the light's too bright for him in the playoffs? I'm hoping he gets shell shocked by Bowles, because Bowles is going to throw things at him that he won't know what's going on. Again, Jalen Hurts has played Todd Bowles better since the first game, but that first game we got embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got embarrassed. Like it was like, okay, well, what are we doing out here? And that's the kind of game I expect them to give to them.
Yeah.
What up, V-Tabs?
Yo, V-Tabs, that's my guy too. But y'all, I'll say this though about what he said about Jaden Daniels. I always tell people this. Like, I've been to a bunch of playoff games, like in person. I don't know if you're a game goer yourself.
I used to be. I used to be down there all the time.
Okay. So yeah, the one thing I noticed about the playoffs is that the game speed is just so much faster. The field looks like it's like smaller or something. Like you can't wrap your head around it when you're watching. You're like, why does this feel so much more intense? So with Jaden Daniels, I think that's the biggest thing with a young quarterback is like it's like how much faster can the NFL get? It's like, oh, it can get faster, and it's crazy that it does. So I think, and with Todd Bowles, that's exactly what he tries to do. He speeds the quarterback's head up, and that's exactly what the game plan will be. So I think if you're going to see someone be shell shocked in this NFC, it's going to be the rookie and against. But if he balls out, I'm sorry, I want to be a hater on JD5, but JD5 won me over, man. I'm also very impressed with what the Commanders did this year, as just kind of like the Broncos. Similar young quarterbacks got teams that weren't supposed to be anything, and they did their thing. So salute to them either way.
Tom, how old are you?
How old?
Yeah,
35.
You're 35.
Mm-hmm.
You better never give nobody no credit again. Not in division. Not in division. You hear me?
I'm real about it. I'm real about it.
CJ Stroud throws the ball like Warren Moon. He has one of the best passes I've seen in a long. And you're in my division.
Be honest.
I don't want to hear nothing. Let me finish. Let me tell you something. They're in my division. I don't give a ham sandwich how good they look. Micah Parsons is trash. Everybody keep trying to tell me this is the next LT, and we need to get him on our team. You know what? He has 1 sack in 3 postseasons. He doesn't show up when the lights are bright. He's a baby back bitch in his punk ass podcast. He sits there by himself and don't know what he's talking about. He says some of the dumbest things on earth. If we didn't have a touchdown, then maybe we would have won the game. Shut up, dummy. We know what it is. And Jaden Daniels, guess what? He can come and say all the things nice about Jalen Hurts all he wants to. I don't give a bunk. You know what? He's out there for 9 years in college. He comes in here, this little punk team. They got Josh Harris as the owner. They're all trash pandas. Their stadium's trash. Everything. Their fans are trash. Bump. I ain't giving them no credit, Tom. Not in their slice. Not in my division. I know that's rabble.
Well, that's why it's great to have both the two fans like us. You know, I can keep it. I can keep it a little more level headed, and you can supplement that with going crazy and saying, you know, F them. So I love it. I love the dichotomy there.
Look. Mute his mic. See, that's what sounds happens when you do that, Tom. I can't.
He took me out of here, man.
No, it's all good. It's funny because, like I said, like, you know, we all have locally. It's annoying. Like, I have family members that are Cowboys fans, and you know, some of the buddies from high school, like long-term friends, are Commanders fans, things like that. So like I saw my buddy the other day, and I was like, I haven't even talked to him this season because I haven't seen him or talked to him. And I was like, I know you hyped up. He's like, for what? I was like, oh, you little punk Commanders. He forgot to even talk trash because I haven't seen him, that they're, you know, doing good and things like that. So, you know, I recognize how they are, but I mean, oh gosh, I'm the type of guy, like, I've got like a Ray Lewis jersey, like I've got a Peyton Manning. Like, I don't feel like I can wear them as much as I used to because lately the fandom has become so all or nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you doing wearing a Ravens jersey? I'm like, it's Ray Lewis. He's a killer on the court and off. I mean, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? So, but now I feel like I can't even wear these things at time, but I just can't stand anybody in the division. The closest fan of a player in my division that, like, I just have to bend the knee to is Lawrence Taylor. And that's like when I talk about like Reggie White, when anybody talks about Reggie White, the deference and the respect, and you have to just bend the knee to his ultimate greatness. Lawrence Taylor is the only one where I'm like, you know, dog, you got it, dog. I can't, you know what I mean? I was young. I didn't really get to see it as much as like live, but I was in the era enough to know who that man was. And so anybody brings him up, I'm like, you got it. Yeah. I mean, he's one of the GOATs. So
yeah. I think there's a couple guys like that in the history of the division that I can give credit to and you know, give the proper credit to. And I've always liked fans that when the Eagles are good or have good players or whatever, they keep it real and they give them credit. And, you know, because at the end of the day, when you sign up to be a sports fan, sometimes you're in the position to give credit and sometimes you're in the position to get credit. And that's just what it is. Like, you got to take the L sometimes, and then you wait your turn and you celebrate when your team's up and you take that shine. So I try to give credit where it's due, but yeah, we all have our legends and classics and favorites and things like that. And it's, I had a Ray Lewis jersey growing up too, man.
Hey, see, we was all killers out here. You know what I mean? We was out here getting the job done. You know what I mean? Sweeping these streets out here.
Yeah.
So the MVP conversation. Joe Burrow should be MVP. He led the league in yards, touchdowns. His wide receiver won the Triple Crown. Their defensive player had the most sacks, and they went home.
Yeah.
A lot of people want. If today, somebody's in my comments, if Joe Burrow was a quarterback for the Eagles, y'all would have won 3 Super Bowls and y'all would be the dynasty. So I was like, and if wasn't fifth. If he was out here in the Eagles, he might have a broken leg and never play again. I don't know. He's fragile and gets injured all the time. I got who I got. My guy be out here winning games.
Mm-hmm.
My guy hasn't missed the playoffs since he's been a full-time starter. Right. I like who I have. I also like the biggest thing I'll give to Jalen Hurts. He's not the best passer. He's not the most accurate. He's not the biggest. He's not the strongest arm. He doesn't have anything that is the best of anything that you quantify for a quarterback, except for one thing: mental toughness and understanding of the game. And in Philadelphia, that means a lot. You could go out here and go get me a Joe Burrow. You bring Justin Herbert's long, fancy-haired self here. He would have a meltdown and be in a psych ward by week 3. Okay? So the mental attitude that Jalen Hurts has dealing with the media here, even though he's winning games, is tremendous for what you need to have for a guy who goes out there and has the composure and keeps it the way he does, because Philadelphia breaks its stars down to their knees faster than any other place. Because again, then we started the show off talking about, because we care so much.
Yep.
And that fan is short for fanatic. So it gets crazy highs, it gets crazy lows, and that's why I need Jalen Hurts out here talking about the sun gonna rise in the east, set in the west, don't it? Full moon happen once a month, 35 weeks. You know what I mean? Hey, period comes once a month, girl. Get yourself together. Like, he just be saying these random standard facts. Just goes about his day. But we need that here in Philadelphia, because it's like, well, Jalen, you threw 4 touchdowns and you had 300 yards, but you missed 2 wide open passes in the flat. Do you think you don't know how to play the position right anymore? Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? We won the game. I have 4 touchdowns. Why are we?
Yeah, exactly.
So he's built for us. He's built for here. And I'm a Hurts guy.
Yeah, I'm a huge Hurts guy. I mean, I think that you started off the topic with talking about MVP and Joe Burrow, and I think it kind of led into just talking about really what value is to a team and what's a valuable player. And I think people in this generation are very obsessed with stats and highlights, and because it's force fed to us by all these mainstream media outlets. But if you really are on like the ground floor with this Eagles team, and you know what Jalen Hurts is, like you said, doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the best. He's not the most skilled. But you know what he is like mental toughness, but he's also very pliable. He can run a system where he doesn't have the pride to get in the way to be like, okay, we're going to be a run first team. We're going to play smash mouth football. I can do that. Oh, the deep ball's not there. All right, I can go underneath and check down. A lot of motion in this offense. I can move guys around and call things at the line, and then also he does have a nice deep ball. He can throw the ball downfield.
Yeah. And when I say he doesn't have the best, I'm saying like he might be in like the 90th percentile instead of 99th. Like he's
exactly.
He's in the top echelon of all the things I listed that he's not the best at. But technically, no one is the best at all things. They're all compartmentalized.
And I think another thing is consistency, and how hard he works keeps him so consistent. And his skill set, I think 4 years in now as a full-time starter, it has it transferred over to the NFL, and it's effective. Whether people want to nitpick at how he scores his touchdowns or what it looks like on the stat sheet, Jalen Hurts' skills are effective in the NFL. He's very consistent. You know what you're getting every year, so it's very easy to build a team around a guy that you know exactly what you're getting from him. Leadership, you're getting all that, and then you're getting production on the field. Your offense is going to move the ball. You can build a dynamic run game around him. He's going to be on the field for the most part. I mean, he's had little injuries in his career, but he's mostly smart with how he runs. like to see him be a little more protective of himself going forward as well. But he's definitely toned that part of his game back from 2021. I mean, the guy just works his butt off, and that goes to the mental aspect, but consistency is huge.
So Jalen Hurts for MVP, is that who you got?
You know what? I would say it's so difficult to pick MVP anymore. But you know what? I really wanted to see Saquon Barkley win the MVP because he's a 2,000-yard back. And I grew up in the early 2000s watching football when Sean Alexander and LaDainian Tomlinson had crazy years and won back-to-back MVPs in 05 and 06. Adrian Peterson won in 2012 coming off that ACL to a 2,000-yard season. So I wanted to see Saquon, but I also know that Lamar and Josh Allen both had really good years, especially Josh Allen with the fact that, they lost their both starting receivers. They lost some guys on defense. They kind of were a team that people were like, oh, they're going to take a step back, and they just didn't. They were amazing. So I understand it.
So it should be Saquon Barkley. The tush push, quote unquote, stealing touchdowns from him did hurt him in that aspect. Because if you'd had the touchdowns along with the 2,000 yards, I feel like they would have,
considered it. Maybe if you had like 20 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah,
but
again, have give it to him. But
just don't they don't speak to it. You got to watch.
It's a quarterback award anymore, and I hate that it is that, but it is. And so it has to be Josh Allen, just because people have Lamar fatigue. He keeps winning it. Lamar has the stats, and whenever you put the numbers up, it's just all green light go on Lamar's side. But that being said, Josh Allen's done it with lesser talent and less help. And the Derrick Henry thing is a knock to Lamar, because I hate the fact too that Jalen Hurts gets discredited for having Saquon, even though any running back that plays with Jalen Hurts has their best statistical year. That's what I said earlier too about Jalen Hurts is the key to other people's success. It's really true. Sanders had his best year with Jalen Hurts. Swift had his best year with Jalen Hurts. Now Saquon Barkley's had his best year with Jalen Hurts behind the quarterback because of the RPO, because of the dual threat running, because of the mindset that it brings to the defense. So, but I wish it was Saquon. I wish with all my heart it was Saquon, just so we can get out of that cycle of just give it to a quarterback.
Right.
And at this point, they should just do the co-MVP thing like they did that year with was it McNair and
McNair? It was McNair and Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Yeah, so just go ahead and give a co-MVP and call it a day so we can go on about our business.
Yeah. I agree.
So what else is there going on? The Bears asked to speak to Mike McCarthy.
Denied.
About their head coaching situation.
And he was denied too. The Cowboys shut it down. So it looks like the Cowboys are keeping McCarthy. The Giants are keeping Brian Daboll. And I guess you could say that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It's a great thing, sir.
Yeah.
It is a great thing. And Lonzo
I don't know why they're banging their heads against the wall with the same thing over and over every year. But I guess the Cowboys are kind of locked in because signed Dak, signed CD. It's like keep the coach, keep the consistency there. I don't know.
So you're about to give this man a 4-year extension because that's what he's going to want.
Yeah, exactly.
A 4-year extension just to fire him next year. Because I guarantee you, if Mike McCarthy comes back there next year, they're going to fire him because you're going to have the same thing happen. And the thing that you were being a respectable, admirable person, giving some kind of credit to the Commanders. One thing I'll say is that besides their trash owner, Magic Johnson is also an owner over there. And one thing that he does is he changes morale and attitude and lives. Okay. When he's involved with a team, he's out there, Mr. Investment. He's like, hey, you got that young contract, young boy. Let me go help you open up a movie theater, Magic Johnson Theaters. Like he's going to be putting so much money in people's pockets. They're going to be so happy to be there. The Cowboys are going to be looking down like, man, we're over here with the Giants again, because bringing him back in is not going. There's no change. There's no morale boost. There's no
fresh. Like they need something fresh.
They need something fresh, and they're gonna. When they realize it, it's gonna be after giving that extension. But again, for us, Tom, for you, and the chat, and everybody in here, it is amazing, and I'm so happy about it. Roll over to the Giants. They kept Daboll and Sheen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and Sheen.
Yeah. I think what these teams are doing, like, it's crazy because we're sitting here like, man, they need someone fresh. They need something, in terms of McCarthy, in terms of Dayball. But we say that like every few years, and it's because they just are a letdown. Like no matter who they have. I mean, Cowboys went from Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan to Jason Garrett and Kellen Moore to McCarthy and Kellen Moore, and now it's just McCarthy calling the offense. Like that's so much change because and it's not because they're good and they're getting poached. It's because they're not doing it, and then they're firing guys to hope that they can save their team or whatever the direction of the team. And I think they just keep going down a black hole. And the Giants, same thing. I mean, it's the same stuff. They fire coaches, they draft guys here, quarterbacks, and then no O-line, and they just go down the same rabbit hole every time. So it's pretty brutal.
So if I were the Giants, I'm glad that I'm not because I'm smarter than them. I would have fired Shane and I would have kept Dayball. And my new GM would have been like, hey, look, let's give Dayball one more year. Let me get some of the players I want in with what he wants in and see how it works out next year because he's still under contract. And if he does a little bit better, we'll extend him. But if not, then I can go pick my own guy. But keeping that GM there is malfeasance. This man embarrassed your organization, your family name, and your legacy as an NFL team. And he made it so the fact that people don't want to come and play there for you. You kind of like backstabbed and talked about a man of the year. Again, talking about somebody in the division. Now, again, me personally, Saquon Barkley kicked rocks the whole time I was here. He was up the street. I didn't care. I don't like Saquon Barkley. I might respect some of the runs. Everyone's like, man, that's a nice run. Like neighbors had that nice catch. I even tweeted out like, hey, wow, nice catch. That's about it, my extent of giving them some kind of credit. But the fact of the way that they talked about that player who was just a man of the people, he cared about the community and did everything right, and this is how you talk about him, that guy had to go. And you kept him there. Good, great for us, bro. Great for us. Bad for business. Bad for business. Do you know anything about the Patriots and Mayo? Bill had the successor already written in line, and he used to be a defensive player, and he studied under Bill, and they fired him after 1 year. He did win the last game of the year and cost him the first pick overall. But I think they just want Vrabel. So
yeah, I thought they interviewed a couple guys, but I don't know. I did see they fired Mayo, and I was like, dang, I thought they were going to give him a chance and see what he had. But yeah, no, Vrabel makes that a lot of sense. He's working for the Browns right now, but yeah, I'm sure he'll slide right back over there. And
he wants a starting job, and Vrabel's the best of the both worlds that they want. He played under Bill, but he's not under Bill's tree. So he knows the Patriot way, but he doesn't live the Patriot way. He went out and he's had 3 or 4 different coaching jobs. He's created his own system, his own. Yeah. And he's back. When he lost AJ Brown, there was nobody more sick than him.
Yep, exactly.
How about when they get a GM fired?
I like him. He's a football guy. So.
Yeah. So, he's a good hire. I just hate that they came to the expense of a 1-year run for Mayo.
Right. I didn't like that either. I thought that was kind of.
But hopefully that franchise has another decade of pain and suffering and no joy brought to their lives, because that's the real Patriot way. That's the Patriots I grew up on, that I remember as a child, and I would love for them to stay in this doldrum that they're in. Let's circle back to the Eagles before we get out of here. The Eagles are playing the Packers on Sunday at 4:30. You like the time slot? You want to be down there tailgating? You're going to get down there. Like, what time you get down tailgating? You a 7 a.m. guy? You a 4:30 guy? What time you usually roll up?
Yeah, so I definitely love the time slot. It's the one I wanted. I'm going to be in Philly all weekend, actually, staying from Friday through Sunday night, and perfect time slot for me, 4 p.m. And yeah, the tailgates. People are there lined up outside the gate. I usually get there with 3.5, maybe 4 hours till game time. You go in about 45 minutes to an hour before the game. So it's like 3 hours of tailgating. It's always feels like it goes so quick, and you wish it was longer, but those long days, those prime time games, the 8 p.m.s are the killers. So 4 o'clock's perfect, and it's going to be really cold. I'm going to bundle up, but nothing a nice big jacket can't do, and go cheer your head off.
So again, thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Putting in that work. I'm an old man. I'm not going outside to stand there and cheer for 60-degree weather below.
Yeah.
I don't drink as much as I used to. I think that has a lot to do with it. Because when I was younger and I was going all the time, like, dude, I remember there was a game we went to, and we ended up taking the SEPTA in because it was so cold. There was so much snow, and we're like, look, I'm not even driving because we won't be able to get out of the parking lot potentially. And we're sitting there in those stands, and I'm like, it's 12 degrees, and I'm why are we? My girlfriend's looking at me. She's like, "You're crazy." I mean, we had really good seats. This back in shot, I used to be, I mean, real close to a lot of players. So I used to sit with the family section. So we had really good seats. But even still, I was like, it's like, why am I doing this? And I was thinking, oh yeah, because this is great. It's just great. And when you're drunk, you kind of don't feel it. You know what I mean? You got enough drinks in you. Life is good. But every once in a while, those pictures pop up on my little TV screen, my little picture thing, and I'm like, man, I was dumb. Because I couldn't see nothing. I had this much eyes open. I was bundled up time. I was in there. I'm a big guy too, so yeah, you definitely got to make sure you layer up when you're out there. I see you got all the gear. You're out there robbing Mitchell and Ness on a weekly basis out here in these streets.
Yeah. I got the jacket for the playoffs, so wait on that drop.
Yeah, I saw they're starting to get into Randall Cunningham stuff, and that's almost got me an itch to go buy some stuff.
Yeah, man, hit me up.
I love Randall. Randall's my guy, and Mitchell Ness, like I said, I got so many Mitchell Ness jerseys in here. Like I used to buy so much gear all the time. I used to buy shoes all the time, and then something just happened. Like, what are you doing? Like, my closet's looking bigger than my girl's closet, so I just shut the whole cookie machine down because, dude, I got racks and racks of shoes. I'm like, I don't have enough room for all of these. So
you only got 2 feet.
Yeah. I shut everything down. But they've been coming out with so much nostalgia gear and all the fun stuff that's been out lately. It's just amazing because the quality. I feel like the quality is better than when we were growing up too. Like whenever I get my hands on something, I'm like, I used to own this hat. It did not feel like this 22 years ago. It just wasn't made like this. You know, the jackets look better. They're a little bit shinier and everything's just golden and crispy. So it's really good. But yeah, tomorrow we should definitely see Jalen out there for practice and that whole conversation can die down. Again, we'll find out more about the Packers and their injuries and things like that going on. But bro, I'm just not even worried about them at all. I'm actually not worried about anyone in the NFC.
Agreed.
Like, I respect the Lions so much because of the way we won a Super Bowl. There are more injuries than just Carson Wentz that year. People were going down and other guys were stepping up. And it really was next man up. It really was all together. And the Lions have been doing that for the last 7 weeks where, you know, if you look around the league, talk about national narratives. Oh, they lost Hutchinson. They're not going to be able to. Oh, wow. Oh, they lost. Oh, wow. They lost 2 guys yesterday. They're not going to be. Oh, wow. And so they have really, you know, the Montgomery thing and the Gibbs thing, losing Montgomery, and Gibbs just turns it up another gear. So they remind me so much of the Eagles with their guts and the way that they play. And it really is next man up. They're playing for each other. They've got a offensive coach that everybody wants. They've got a defensive coordinator that people are going to really want, and they're just finding ways to win. So if there's anybody that I'm worried about, if we get to them or if they get to us, it is the Detroit Lions. Everybody else is just in our way. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I agree. I've hated on the Lions all year, just waiting on their downfall, hoping on it, praying on it, because I really know they're just good. And I've finally just given up on that. Like, they've suffered, like you said, so many injuries, and they just don't stop. Like, guys just step up and they keep winning. They keep looking the same. And I'm saying, hey, meet me in the Motor City for the NFC Championship. Then we'll see you guys there.
Yep, I have no problem going there. I do hope that if it does come down to that, I actually feel a little bit better about our kicking situation being indoors late in the year instead of being out here in the freezing cold with a ball that's rock hard and can't move more than 2 feet. So there are different things of where it's like, you know what, I'll survive. I'll live with that situation and it's not going to bother me. Where can people find you at? I got your Twitter up there. It's at Tom Steaks.
Yep, at Tom Steaks. And that's the biggest thing. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know my whereabouts, where I post, things like that. But it's mostly Twitter. I do a little TikTok here and there on special occasions, and got some solid videos. I usually just shoot when I'm at the games and stuff. But yeah, man, find me on Twitter. I put out video content, everything, tweets, memes, funny. You know, I have a little sense of humor, so you know, maybe laugh, maybe shed a few tears. I'm emotional about the birds. You know what it is.
I do. So first of all, thanks for being on. I appreciate you. You were awesome. I will definitely have you back. I'm trying to get my gritty nights going next year. I'm gonna probably be doing I'm gonna steal Shannon Sharp's thing. I'm gonna do gritty nights. I'm gonna do it like every night. So next year during the run, I'm gonna have a Tom night. So I make sure that me and Tom get out here and have a little positivity in my life. I'm more of the Negadelphia, the realistic Delphia. So my emotions go up and down. You know what I mean? So it's nice when I usually got my buddy Harry here, my buddy Jason. They're also co-hosts on the show, but Harry had to work and Jason was sick tonight. So I'm glad that's why I had Tom on here, keep me straight, so I didn't go down the rabbit hole complaining about nothing. You know what I mean? Even though we got everything in the world to be excited about. But if you're watching for the first time, again, go to YouTube, click subscribe, go to blackgritty.com, and you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts, on YouTube. And in the comments, I will have Tom's Twitter linked up so you can go follow him and find out what an amazing human being he is. And if you hear him talking positive about anybody in the division, make sure that you tell him. If you're listening on audio, I just told you, you know what I'm saying. You can feel it through the audio.
He got eyes on me. He got eyes.
Exactly what I'm talking about. You let Tom know. But as always, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. And go Birds!
Thank you.
Take a look in my game face. Ain't no stopping me.